Today we are discussing Disney's moderate resorts. We will be ranking each of those resorts based on our most favorite to the least favorite. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. So moderate is the next level up from value. There are a few big differences, and Kristen, feel free to jump in if I'm missing anything. Moderate is like the middle, so it's not quite like at a value the least expensive, maybe a little bit more affordable, but it's also not the most expensive option that Disney has. The rooms are bigger than value resorts. They have both quick service and table service restaurants. I feel like the table service part is a big step up from value because value does not offer any table service restaurants. There are still a lot of similarities to value. Like they still have they'll have movie nights or campfires or something like the activities that the resort has, just like the value resorts. They still have complimentary transportation. Like that doesn't change just because you're at a moderate resort. There is a fitness center at Coronado Springs, which is usually just a deluxe thing. So having it at a moderate resort is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, so we got to talk about pools. We kind of mentioned
Oh yeah.
that in our previous video about values, but yeah, so at a value resort, you're going to have just pools. Now, you may have more than one depending on the size, but just pools, no water slides, anything. At a moderate, you're always going to have some kind of water slide. And again, you may have more pools. You may have some quiet pools around the property, but you're going to have one big main pool that's going to have a slide. And then at a deluxe, you're going to see a pool with a slide and some kind of splash feature or splash pad for littles. So that's a big difference too.
So we'll just kind of start by our own personal thoughts of what we think are the best moderate resorts, get down to the least favorite of ours. I'm going to start off with the best. My favorite moderate resort is Coronado Springs. It is a moderate resort, but there are so many things about this resort that make it feel like you're at a deluxe resort. And as a person that is not able to spend the money to stay at a deluxe resort every single time, I love that I can kind of feel like that at Coronado Springs. They have so many dining options, your traditional quick service, but they also have so many table service options that you can go and visit. The tower rooms are definitely my favorite rooms at Coronado. Those rooms really feel like you're in like a deluxe resort. They are very nice. They're very spacious. Some cons that I would say is that since it is a resort that has conventions and things like that, it can be a little bit crowded depending on the time of year that you go. So that might be some kind of its downfall, but I recently stayed here for the first time and I love it. It quickly made the top list of my favorite moderate resort.
So I'm with you. I love Coronado. I have been staying at Coronado. So you all know I go with my aunt to Disney. That's not news. But we have stayed at Coronado over the years since it was brand new. We're staying there again in 2 weeks. It's come, well, 3 weeks, whatever. But I love it. And I have to say, it has gotten better over the years. Like the food court's always been awesome, but I feel like they even improved upon it. I never feel like, there have conventions and stuff, but I feel like it's pretty separated. I never really feel that crowd or, you don't feel like they've invaded or whatever with some convention. Even to the fact that there's separate check-in areas. Conventions all check in a separate place, so they're not like hoarding into the same lobby as the individual guests. But I agree, the tower was new in just before the pandemic, right?
Recently.
And it is gorgeous. The art, the style of it, the stained glass in there is just gorgeous. It really feels deluxe at a moderate price, especially if you can snag a water view room in that tower. The view is just gorgeous. I love it.
I don't think I even realized that there was a separate check-in. I mean, I'm sure I saw it when I was there for convention guests and regular guests, but that's a great point. So they're already trying to separate the crowd a little bit, even when people get
So
there.
I can tell you why you didn't notice. Back in the day, before you were a wee tyke, not even going to Disney yet. But when Aunt Jules and I used to stay there when it was new, it was all one check-in. And so if you can picture where you walk in and there's the fountain and the gift shop, and then there's that long, like almost where you can like work or spread out and do, there's like desks and whatnot.
Yeah.
That was the lobby check-in. And so when they added on the tower, they put all the individual check-ins in the tower, and then they left all the convention check-ins down on the other end. So that's kind of why you never even think about it now. It's so separate. But it used to all be in one spot. So if you had been there in the old days, you would probably notice it more.
Good to know. Didn't we go one of our first trainings with Love and the Magic? Didn't we stop at Coronado Springs? Or am I
Yes.
thinking that? Okay, because that was like the first time I
Yeah.
had been there, and I don't. Was that? I think
Yeah.
that was before the renovation and stuff. I think.
No, it was after.
Oh, really?
Because we
Okay.
saw some standard and some preferred rooms, and that was the first time I had seen them redone. So, because I
Okay.
had stayed in the carpeted rooms and all that many years in the past. But yeah, so I think that would have been 2019.
Okay. That makes sense.
I love the rooms across the whole resort. It is a big resort. There's a lot of
Hmm.
walking, but it's so beautiful. And for some reason, even though it's big, like I don't feel like it's that big. The only exception to that is I have only stayed in the casitas one time, and they feel completely away from the world. I did feel that time like I had to walk forever to get there and then to get back to the lobby or catch a bus or whatever. Like those seemed really far out.
That's a good point. I do kind of feel like the pool's a little far from like when I stayed in the
I do
tower.
too.
Like that one, it was a bit of a walk, but it's a nice walk. You get to walk across the water on that pretty bridge.
So can I say a con? Are we there yet?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I don't love the pool. I don't.
Okay.
I think it's just a big square pool. The water slide's cool because it's like a Mayan pyramid or whatever, Mayan or Incan or something.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, people rave about that pool, and I'm like, I don't know if I get it. It's just kind of a big square, but I love everything that goes with the pool. They have like ping pong tables. They have a kids playground. There's like a jungle gym. There's all these cool things for kids to do. There's a really awesome snack bar with like quick bites and so I love like the whole area, but I think the pool itself is like a little disappointing. Do you agree or no?
I feel like the theming of the pool and everything else around the pool makes me like it so much. I mean, I don't disagree. I do feel like there's not really a whole lot going on with the pool itself, but I don't know. I just feel like that area, like I feel like I'm on a beach over there. Like the beach volleyball is kind of fun too, right off to the
That's
side.
true. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I can see why it's a little bit boring, but I love the big pyramid and the water slide right there. So I feel like the
Yeah.
theming really kind of make up for it in my opinion. But
Yeah,
but
that's
you're
kind
but
of
you're
true.
right.
I feel like I always say Coronado is really the only resort on Disney property that I feel like when I go there, I almost feel like I've gone to like an all-inclusive or something. Because,
Hmm.
like you said, it has so many restaurant choices. It's got a really nice food court with so many choices in there. There's tapas, there's the floating like wine and food out on the lagoon. There's like so many options to eat. You've got multiple pools around the property. I think there's at least two, maybe three quiet pools around, which are super nice to use at night because they don't close till really late. So like you can come back from the parks and like go for just a quick little cool off or whatever. But and like the pool, the whole pool area, I really feel like you could almost take a vacation and just stay at that resort. Like that's your destination. It really feels like that.
You're right. There's so many like places that I didn't get to experience last time that I would love to like go eat at or try a cocktail or something at because there's so many
Yes.
places. I did not know that the pools stay up or the smaller pools stay up or open up later. I didn't know that. I get to know
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice. We would kind of come back, and after that, like a long day in the parks, it's kind of nice just to like even just to put your feet and legs in and just
that.
kind of
Yeah.
like let your it's nice.
Yeah. My next favorite, my personal opinion after Coronado of all the moderate resorts is Caribbean. I feel like we've talked about the pronunciation of this word multiple times. I don't know what is correct, but Caribbean Beach. That's what I'm going to go with.
Yep.
And I think what makes me put this as my second choice is the Skyliner is a huge perk. I think the Skyliner is the best form of Disney transportation. I just really like the theming here. Like I'm such a beach person in general, and the rooms were recently renovated, and so that's a big perk. I do know that this one is a little bit more spread out, and so there are, kind of depending what building you get put in, that can be a huge con, especially close to the main building of the resort. But I don't know. I will say I don't think the pool is anything super spectacular here. Like it's a cool pool, but like the main pool is what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Fuente de Moro.
Yes. But I love that when you walk around, there's like little hammocks on like a little sand. It's not really a beach because you can't go in the water, but they have like sections with sand and hammocks everywhere. I don't know. That's why I put it as my second one. The Skyliner for sure. I like the theming. Huge con though is it is definitely spread out, and it can be not so great if you're far away. What
Yeah.
is your thoughts on?
So I ranked this one number 4, actually. This is pretty
Oh,
low on my list. I am not a fan of the Caribbean Beach Resort.
okay.
Now that said, I think it was brilliant. I think one of the smartest things the Disney Corporation ever did was put the Skyliner there, because until then, it was kind of like everybody's last choice for moderates, because
Yeah.
it hadn't been refurbished. It was getting real tired. The guest rooms were like pretty sad looking, whatever. And then, they put the Skyliner in, and all of a sudden people gave it a second look, which was great. It was super smart. Then they redid the rooms, and it is a lot better. But for me, like, it's just too big. I feel like you have to walk 5,000 miles to get anywhere. And like at conference this year, just so you all know, I love the turkey dinner at Pop Century.
Yeah.
And I hadn't eaten all day. It was like almost 3:30 in the afternoon. And half of our group was over at Caribbean Beach and half of us were at Pop Century. And I thought I was done. I'd given my last resort tour, and I am like mowing down shrimp and mashed potatoes and garlic green beans. And I'm like a blimp, right? Like I'm so full.
Yeah.
And it turned out right then we had a mistake. I had to get over to Caribbean Beach. So I hop on the Skyliner. I'm finishing my meal in the Skyliner, wolfing it down. And I get there and I was like, okay, I can do this. And I had to like jog. Like everybody was waiting for me to get over there and exchange keys and like fix the problem. And so I'm just like so full of all this hot food. I'm like running and I'm like, this is too far. I can't do it. I finally get there and I'm like, I hope you're all happy. Oh, it just like cemented in my mind that it's too big for me. But I get, I'm not a beach person. And so I think maybe the theming just doesn't grab me. I like the pool better than you do. Like, I think it's a cooler pool than
Okay.
Coronado. But, and it's great. There's good food. It's a good gift shop. There's good eating options. It just has never, it's never done it for me. So.
Okay, that's fair. I will say that I've only ever stayed at a preferred room at this resort, so I feel like that kind of skews my opinion just a tad. Yeah, so I feel like that's probably why I like it so much. I've always just been kind of close, and I feel like I haven't had to, walk a whole lot. But yeah, that's kind of, it's also been a little bit since I've stayed here, so maybe if I stayed here recently, then my opinion would change.
And same for me. Like, I haven't stayed there since renovations and all that. So I feel like I probably should give it a new chance and see if I change my mind. But I feel like I love the other moderates so much.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
want to like take a
why would you?
Yeah. Why ruin a good thing? So I don't know.
That's true. Okay, my number 3rd choice was Port Orleans French Quarter. So I've been here, but I've never stayed here. But I love the theming is great here. It literally feels like you are like truly immersed here. The beignets, of course, the Mickey beignets are amazing. I've definitely had those. I love those. You can take a boat to Disney Springs, which I feel like is just like a little unique. You don't really have that option for all the moderate resorts, and so that's kind of cool to have. Yeah. But I guess why I gave it number 3 is the theming and the beignets. I would love to stay here and experience it as a guest, but I never have. So that's kind of why I gave it the ranking. What are your thoughts?
I think if you stayed there, it might move up to number 2 for you. I think you'd really like it. I actually had a hard time ranking Coronado and French Quarter, only because I love them so much for different reasons. They could almost be a tie for number 1 for me. But I love the size of French Quarter. It's really small, one bus stop. You're never far away from anything. No matter what room you have on that property, you're close to the pool, you're close to the dining. You can run over there and, get a Coke in the evening or whatever. It's close. It's always, one bus stop. You're never having to sit and wait your turn to get off like you do at Coronado, Caribbean Beach, whatever.
That's a good point.
I love the food, but overall, like, I just think it's beautiful. Coronado is too. They're both gorgeous, especially at night. Like, when I sell honeymoons to people that want a honeymoon at Disney, the top choices I give them, if deluxe is not in their budget, then I'm going to give them Coronado and French Quarter. I feel there's just especially for adults only trips, the ambiance in the evening especially is just really gorgeous. The lighting's beautiful. Like you actually could just like take a little romantic stroll around or whatever and just enjoy the grounds. Like they're both so pretty.
I want to experience it again because it's been so long. And it's a really pretty
Yeah.
place. But you're right. I kind of forget how small it is compared to everything else. Like, it is much more tight.
Yep.
My next choice was Port Orleans Riverside. Like, honestly, the only reason why I put this one after French Quarter was because of the beignets. I feel like the beignets put it above for me. Riverside, I stayed here for my second Disney trip ever, so it has been a little while. Also, I have not been back to that resort since then, so it has been a little bit while. It does share a bus with French Quarter, but if there's only one bus stop, that's not really the end of the world. It could be. I do remember this resort being very large and a little bit more spread out. I don't know if that's because there's just so much greenery. I don't know, but
Yeah.
if it felt a little big, and so yeah, that's about all I remember of Riverside. Have you been here
I
recently?
think it's really pretty. I've always liked the ambiance of the grounds. You know, like I do think they did a really cool thing when they kind of did the two different sides of New Orleans. You know, you've got the French Quarter is its own thing and Mardi Gras and that thing. But you know, there's so much like you can walk around New Orleans and it's like the beautiful hanging moss and the Spanish moss and the trees and like there's a whole different side to it, you know. And I think they captured that. It does feel big, but I think you're right. I think it's more because there's just so much like grass area. There's so much like cobble area, which it's beautiful. It's really
Yeah.
pretty, lush. Um, so I like it. It's you know like Coronado is really lush too, but in a whole different way. It's more like that Southwest like cacti and you know different looks
Yeah.
of foliage. But yeah, Riverside is like really lush. I think it's nice. I have not stayed there in years because we always pick French Quarter over that. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Where did you put Riverside on your list as far as your
Number
ranking?
3.
Number 3. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Nice.
I did Coronado, French Quarter, Riverside, and then Caribbean Beach was 4.
Okay. My number 4 was Riverside. Do we have any other thoughts on Riverside?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I feel like Riverside's kind of like the forgotten kid.
I
Like
know.
Riverside's just kind of over there. It's everybody's last thought. There are people that love it, but like I don't feel like it's anybody's like, yes, I have to stay there. You know,
I
it's
know.
like it's nobody's dream resort.
I know. I feel like everybody is. They're just they would just rather pick French Quarter over Riverside. My last choice of my best or most favorite to least favorite are the cabins at Fort Wilderness. Okay, so what cabins were recently moved to Deluxe or Vacation Club? What am I talking about?
So basically, all of them. They took, you know, used to look more like a little log cabin, and
Yeah.
now they look much more like a modern, like a tiny home that you would see, basically. Layout is still the same, but yeah, they're a lot DVC now, which I will be
Okay.
completely honest, I'm not a DVC person. I'm not a fan. That's mostly because as a travel agent, you know, Disney is really focused on building DVC, but they won't let travel agents book them, which I have a problem with because it's like you say you love travel agents, but you know, you kind of put up walls for us sometimes. I like the cabins, but for me, having up to 6 people and 1 bathroom is not working for me.
Yeah. That is
That's
a lot of people.
that's a lot of people. Now, you know, it's a cool setup because you have like the queen bed and a bunk bed in the bedroom, and then you've got what used to be a pull-out sofa. Now it's one of the cool Disney Murphy fold downs, you know, in the living room. So you do have options there. You've got a queen, and 2 bunks. But for me, that's a lot of people in 1
Yeah.
bathroom. I just think that's, you know, and I'm also not a person, I don't use a kitchen when I go to Disney. So
Yeah.
that is not enticing to me at all. I'd much rather have a second bathroom than I would have a kitchen. I'm not cooking meals when I'm at Disney. Like I'm on vacation. Now I may eat a bagel in the morning like you and I do, or eat a power bar or something as I head out to the parks, but I don't, you know, I'm not cooking anything in the room.
So yeah, I've never actually seen these in person. I do know that like around the holidays, around Christmas, all the campers and things like that will decorate, and you can get a golf cart and drive around. And I've always seen people doing that. And that has always looked really cool. But so that's about all I know about the cabins. If you like to camp, I guess maybe that could be something that you could consider on your trip. But I just don't go to Disney and really want to stay in a cabin or a campground. So
I don't either. It's not my jam. I think too though, you know, you and I also don't like there are people, you know, especially if they take their campers, they go for like 2 or 3 weeks. Now they may only
Yeah,
go to the park a handful of days, but the rest of it, they're just enjoying the campground and that whole thing. So you and I
it's
not being
different.
campers, maybe we just don't get it.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
but I, I'll be this is here's some truth. In 7 years of being a travel agent, I have never had one person choose the cabins.
Wow.
If that tells you
I don't
anything.
think I ever did either. I definitely quoted it for them, but yeah, I don't think I ever had anybody stay.
Quote it now and again as another option. Like if there was a family that did need that room for six, you know, I would give them an all-star suite. I would give them a suite at Art of Animation, and then I'd give them that. Because, you know, other than that, the moderates don't really have options for a one-room larger family like that.
Yeah.
Coronado has some executive suites, but they're really expensive, especially for a moderate. And after that, you go up to the deluxe villas, and that's, you know, so if you're not in the price to pay 12 to $14,000 for your week, then you kind of got to look at the values or the cabins. So I have quoted them, but nobody ever chose them.
Well, if you have stayed in a cabin or even the campgrounds, I would love to know your thoughts about that experience at Disney because I just don't have much interest in experiencing that.
One thing that we're like, no, we don't care.
Yeah.
Stay everywhere else, but I don't care. If
Yeah.
somebody gave it to me for free, okay, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I
for
don't think
sure.
I'm paying my own money to stay in the cabins.
No. No, I've been over in that area though because one year my little sister went to the Tri-Circle D Ranch and we rode some
Hmm.
horses. And so that was kind of cool. You don't really get to hear about people riding horses at Disney, but I have done that before. But yeah, so I don't know. Thanks for tuning in, Road Droppers. We'll see you later.